then I'm pretty sure that many of those women that were in the video, we didn't know about them, and that's the idea of this presentation, to start to celebrate I think it's open twice.
عشان اسفين ان هو يعني الطلب ده بتاع كل فيديو.
Now, yes. So then, in that video and in others, we start to see the name of several women that has been contributed to science since the ancient times to now. Now, the most famous women, that's why she is in the middle, is Marie Curie. Why is she so famous? Because she was the first woman who won a Nobel Prize, and actually she was included in the nomination because her husband, Monsieur Curie, Pierre Curie, asked her to include her and to recognize her contribution. Now, she is the first and the only person who has been able to win 2 Nobel Prizes in different disciplines, and also was the first female professor at the University of Paris. However, the journey for Marie Curie was not easy. She had to study in a clandestine university in Poland, and she had to work as babysitter and any other jobs in order to make the money to be able to join the university in Paris. Later, she married Pierre Curie, and thanks to that, she was able to have access to a lab, and they worked together, and the discovery were done together. That's why he asked to be included in the Nobel Prize in Physics, because she was not initially included in the nomination. So, how to attract women to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So, how to engage it? So, I'm going to show this video, which shows several actions, and we are going to discuss it later.
Can we bring it from YouTube probably?
Yeah, we can copy the you don't really need to close this one because it's open twice.
No, it's open right. I closed it.
It's this one. Yes, it's that.
Picture this: a scientist, an IT person, an engineer, a mathematician. Chances are, like most people, you pictured mostly men in each of these roles. That's because even though women make up 50% of the population, they still only represent about 30% of the STEM workforce. And minority women comprise fewer than 1 in 10 employed scientists and engineers. It's difficult to imagine something you don't even know is possible. Research has shown that by age 15, girls begin to lose confidence in STEM subjects, unlike their male peers. By age 16, only 25% of girls asked to draw a scientist will picture a female. This loss of confidence isn't inherent. It's a direct result of the unique issues women face when pursuing STEM education and careers, including a lack of recruitment by higher education and employers, stereotypes and implicit bias, and a fixed mindset. The good news is that, together, we can help eliminate these obstacles. At Ecology Project International, we're focusing on 5 clear actions to help sustain girls' interest in STEM, and we hope you'll join us. Number 1, look for and celebrate female role models. Nearly half of all girls interested in STEM don't know a woman in a STEM career. So it's up to all of us to share stories and talk about the women in STEM we know. Need a little help to get started? Check out the links below to learn about women like Katherine Johnson, Sylvia Earle, and Rosalind Franklin. Number 2, provide practical experiences. 74% of teen girls say they're interested in STEM, yet 4 in 10 say they don't get enough hands-on practical experience. Let's get creative at home and in the classroom. Take students to see STEM in action, like a lab or a field station. Engage them in hands-on STEM activities, or let them shadow a STEM job for a day. Number 3, be an active mentor. According to a recent study, when educators talk to girls about STEM fields and actively encourage them, girls become more interested in these subjects. Number 4, show the real-life connection. Research suggests that one reason women may choose non-STEM careers is that they place a higher value on work that serves the greater good. Consider taking students to a field station to help collect data that is influencing endangered species policy, or encourage them to use technology to help solve a local issue that they care about. When you can connect a STEM subject to real-life application, it's easy to see how these fields create positive change in the world. Number 5, help foster confidence in STEM subjects. Girls tend towards a fixed mindset with STEM subjects. It's up to each of us to teach girls that struggle is an important part of learning. With a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset, girls are more likely to persevere in the face of intellectual challenges, like their male counterparts do. Science, conservation, and the future of our planet can only be positively affected by engaging a diverse range of people. And we hope you'll join us in celebrating and engaging more girls in STEM.
Now, what we are going to do is to do a summary of what the video showed. So sometimes women consider that STEM are something very difficult, and that's why it's only a field or a field for men. And this is more for us, like lecturers at the university. We need to develop strategies to recruit women, because if we don't recruit women in these fields, we are losing their potential. Now, again, the fixed mindset thinking that is too difficult, that is not for us. And honestly, genius, they don't born. They are made by practice and practice until they master something. Yes, usually engineering, for instance, are portrayed as something very competitive, a very male field. That's why women are afraid to enroll in those careers, in those programs. In this video, it doesn't show, but other speaker says that when they were at the school, primary and secondary school, They really like mathematics and they really like science, but they are afraid to say that and to share that because they will be seen as nerdy, and you know that this is not very popular when you are in the school. Now, actions, celebrate female roles. I would like to know if you know about any of those ladies besides Marie Curie that have contributed to science. I have to admit that besides Marie Curie and Zaha Hadid, I didn't know the others. Zaha Hadid is an architect, yes, a very famous architect, and the others, honestly, I have seen the movie Hidden Figures, and honestly, I didn't remember the names, but you see the high contribution that they did. I really recommend that movie, Hidden Figures, because it portrays not only the struggle of women, but also the struggle of black women by that time in which the movie happens. Now, provide practical experience, promote creativity. This is something that starts from the early infancy. We are going to see ahead how it's possible to promote. Take girls to see STEM in action. Here, it's here is an event organized by Cardiff University. It's in Cardiff. It's a neighborhood that is called Grangetown. We people from different lecturers from different faculties were invited to show the work that we do at the university. He is Professor Tristan Hales, and he is explaining girls about rocks and how they can detail the texture of the rock, and in that way establish what kind of rock is that. Is it volcanic or is what? I'm not geologist. Be a mentor. Encourage girls to shadow a STEM job. It's more at the university to provide girls with opportunities to work as research assistants. Expose girls to STEM subjects like we are doing now, we were doing in that picture. And show the real life connection. Why? Because usually girls, we care more about people. Sometimes we see numbers. We say this is not for us. What is the contribution to the world in that way? And encourage the use of technology, not only mobile phones, but computers. I teach GIS, and I saw that now teenagers, they are very skilled with the mobile phone, but they don't know how to use a desktop. And foster confidence in STEM subjects. So again, encourage girls to deal with mathematics, with science, with technology. Now, attraction. This is Iceland, a very small country in the North Atlantic, in the middle of Norway and Greenland. And this country has championed in the number of women in STEM. More or less the 35% of people in workforce are women, if not more. Why? Because there is no payment gap. Maybe not here, but in many countries, women are paid less than a man for the same work. Why? What happens? Also, the paternity leave in this country is compulsory. In many countries, usually the person with the highest salary is the person who go to work, and the person with the lowest salary stay at home, which usually women. Then what happens? Women interrupt their professional life for 1 year. And sometimes in some countries you can even interrupt it for 2 or for 3 or for 4 years, but then, and it's very good to be able to stay with their children, but then come back to the labor market, and after 1, 2 or 3 years, that's difficult because you are in delay. Then, in this country, the paternity leave is compulsory, and also it's one of the countries with the highest salary for women and for men. Iceland, for those that know, is a country that is exposed to earthquakes, they have a lot of volcanoes. They have so many volcanoes that they even don't talk about volcanoes, they talk about a volcanic system. And they are exposed to storms, to glaciers, and that's why the environment itself make that children and in general people are interested in science. Here we see a geologist performing a lava show. Now, another reason for which Iceland champions in the number of women in STEM is educational models. This is the HELIC model. This model promotes gender equity since the infancy. Here we see one of the main facility that implement this model. What is the idea? The idea of this model is to make that girls will be more independent, that they were able to take more risk, and they are encouraged to take leadership positions, leadership roles. And in the other way, they try that boys will be more gentle, will be more empathetic, will be more cooperative rather than competitive. So in this model, they consider that girls born with social qualities and guys with individual qualities, which is good. Yes, it's part of the difference. And what they do is try to make girls less introverted and guys less rude and get a point in the middle. Now, to accomplish that, they have a curriculum. This is for nursing, based on social and individual qualities. This is 1 year. Each of these courses is 2 months. And some of you can tell me, well, why you are talking about nursing when we are in higher education? If you notice in the video, they say that from 15 years, girls stop or start losing their interest in science. So with this program, they make that girls will be more focused on their individual characteristics. Stop talking about we, start talking about I, me, yes, and be able to start to doing that, to have a leadership position based on respect, on independence, be able to communicate their feelings, be positive and resilient, be able to cooperate and to have courage, not only in girls, also in boys. So what do they do? They separate girls and boys, different classroom, in order to encourage all those different characteristics on each of them. Here it's around 3 years old girls. Do you see they constructed a path and they need to go around. That's to make girls independent, attracted, well, not attracted, but being able to take risk and be leadership. What they observed, Margaret Pavlov, who was the person who developed this model, that model was not developed by me, observed that when girls and boys are together, they learn exaggerated behaviors from the other gender. So they learn that girls are always crying and complain about everything, and that boys are rude. If they don't observe that behavior, then they won't start creating that image from the other gender. So here, girls are learning mathematics. This is the first year of primary school already. And here, girls are doing some maintenance work. They just move some stones to fill a hole around the school. Girls are taking at least 1 week to the forest, to be the whole day in the forest, know how to play there, how to survive, how to live in an environment without closed toilets, and be in contact with the environment. Now, in the case of boys, this is like a kind of huge therapy that, again, is to make them more gentle, less rude. These kind of things contribute to also fight bullying in the future. This is the idea of make them more cooperative, working together, For the activities, they always work in peers, so they reduce that individual characteristics in boys, and here they are helping each other. Now, what is another problem? Toys. In this model, they use something that is called open-ended material, not traditional toys, for two reasons: to avoid created the image, the stereotypes, and to stimulate creativity. So instead of traditional toys, they play with blocks or wood, they play with water, they play with numbers, with rocks, sometimes they play with clay, we play with Play-Doh, paintings, Lego, cushions, and fabric. So those are gender neutral. You cannot say this is for boys, this is for girls. And the other point, it stimulates the creativity. Children need to learn how to play with this. Now, if you notice, the classrooms are neutral. And you see here, there are some numbers. What is the idea? That kids rotate the numbers. Sometimes you are first, sometimes you are in the last number. Why? That is to create resilience among children. So you don't like to be, everyone wants to be the first. Yes, it's nice, but nobody wants to be the last. But sometimes you need to be the last, yes? That change. This is where they put their clothes, this is the playground. And here is the girls repairing this hole in the parking. That somebody will say this is more a work for boys. And now, as I say, Iceland is a country that is exposed to earthquakes, volcanoes, glaciers. So they ask boys and girls to draw what they see in the environment. And they also, this is the mathematics class for girls. So they exposed girls from the early years to science, girls and boys. Now, this is Women in STEM. The idea of presenting that model in the infancy is because also many of you, some of you could be parents or will be parents, so that's a way to incentivize or to break stereotypes that are constructed in the infancy. Later, it will be more difficult to break those way of thinking. Women in STEM, well, what we can do to recruit more women. This is more for lecturers, but it's important that you know, provide in some countries, even Colombia and UK, students in high school, they need to take as a test that determine, and the score determine if they are suitable to enter to some careers. Usually highest score are able to enter to medicine or to engineering. And if you don't get this high score, you will have troubles if you want to start to study those careers. So it's good that the universities provide those courses. Then they are able to attract girls and boys to their university. This is bridge programs. What you see, the picture that I show is something in which we involve primary school. And Cardiff University shows what they do in each school, and then the kids know what we are doing, so we attract them from there. And usually we have the open days and the open color days in which teenagers come with their parents to visit the campus of the university. We make hands-on experience, so we show how to do experiments, how is the fieldwork done. We also we apply as lecturers to be for those days, so girls also have the opportunity to meet female lecturers and professors and to chat with us and share experience. It's important to provide a scholarship for potential female students. And there is something that is called positive discrimination. Discrimination sounds bad, yes, and it is. But sometimes when you require specific characteristics, you need to focus on those people who have those characteristics, yes? If you need female, you need someone who speaks a specific language. If you need someone who have some, to belong to some specific community, that is something that is called positive discrimination, because you are focused on some specific qualities. And that's why we talk about and then advertise potential job opportunities at the school. Usually we need research assistants, and sometimes we can also provide or give preference to girls. Informing about support groups for female students, and how to enroll once women, well, we can recruit women, but how to make them engaged in STEM. So there are some individual obstacles, so we start talking about the problems. These authors made a survey among women. They identify individual and institutional obstacles, and when to talk about individual, if you see, there is a list of individuals in obstacles identified by the students in the survey, and here you see the relative importance. Look, the most important obstacles is the self-confidence. If you are not confident of yourself, then you usually abandon the program. This is the most important, and you see, academic ability is the less important. Things can be difficult, but not impossible. Yes, mathematics, engineering, technology is not easy, but it doesn't mean that we cannot learn. That's why we need to inform girls about the supporting groups. Now, career information is important to tell the curriculum to the potential students, and it's necessary commitment from the student and also from us, yes, as a lecturer. Girls need motivation, need the commitment to the academic work, and they need to be independent. But you see, the most important is the self-confidence. Now, what can contribute to construct self-confidence? We need to eliminate misperception and preconceptions, like says that STEM is mainly for men, that is very competitive, that's why women shouldn't be there, and that only men have the capacity or the intelligence to work on those fields. I say, genius don't born, they are made based on practice. Now, this is another problem. I say again, most of those ladies that were mentioned, we didn't know about them. So that's why we don't have in our mind that women can work on STEM successfully, yes, and excel on that. Psychological influence, that's why I presented the Halleck model in Iceland, because that avoid that stereotypes are constructed in the infancy, and we see women like dependent and boys like those who lead or who always must lead. Sometimes women, we don't have access to the information, or we are not aware of the opportunities that we could have in STEM. And sometimes women, we are afraid that, okay, we can study engineering, we can study mathematics, but who will hire us in the future? Now companies, for instance, in Colombia, government needs to have a quota of 30% women working on the government, yes? Some companies also now in private companies need to have a quota of women working for them. Now, how to contribute to enrollment? Well, early access to technology for girls. Here in this in Greenwich Town, we provide girls with ropes. They are looking how it works with especially liquid. it is understood that when not only girls but boys, when they have a good performance in mathematics or in science, they usually tend to choose a career in those fields. And in those families, when they have relatives working in any of the STEM, girls and boys try to choose a career in the same field because they have access to a role model and of course to support. Yes, someone that can support in case you have difficulties. Difficulties will be always in all the careers, so it's important that we know that. Not only in STEM. And of course, a accountable collaborative environments in which the support is the same for girls and for boys. In the past, even in Colombia, lecturers at the university, in the Faculty of Engineering, they didn't like at all to have women in the Faculty of Engineering. They say to women, hey, you are stealing the place for a guy, which is totally unfair, because usually enter to university is already hard, so you really gain that place. Now, professional growth. It's important to tell that in STEM there is always a room for learning, a continued learning. Technology never stops. Technology always be progressing. We know now that with the AI, so there will be always a continued room for learning. And of course, join or establish associations like this one. These associations are mainly in US, some in Europe. And you know, when I was preparing this, I realized that there is no association of women in STEM in the Middle East or in Egypt, even not in Colombia. So it's good to support each other, to learn about opportunities, free training. And now, how to retain women in STEM? Many women start the career at the university, and when they face difficulties, they just drop out. How do we can retain women on STEM? In the past, I told you, women were not allowed in some places to attend the university. Marie Curie had to study in a clandestine university. When they managed to study or to get a degree, they were not allowed to work. They don't have access to a lab, yes? And when they even have access to a lab, sometimes they have to work without any payment to be able to perform their research. Now, well, still, sometimes people think that women, we are less skilled, we are not good in mathematics, we are not good in engineering. That is not true. You saw the examples. Could be that there are countries in which there is still better education for men than for girls, because it's considered that it's not worthy to educate girls. Sometimes, and this happens still, that women are not enough. They don't get the credit for their work. Did you see? In the case of Marie Curie, Pierre Curie had to say, hey, you need to include her in the nomination because she contributed. He hasn't done that. We didn't know about Marie Curie. That's why, and we are talking in the future about peer support or mentor support. In some places, women have to attend overcrowded rooms, then the learning experience is not good, and also sometimes the curriculum needs to be adapted to the cognitive difference of women. And now, what factors contribute to retention in women? This is institutional factors. Here again, it was listed by these authors in a survey. They go from not important to very important. The most important is the classroom climate, where women and men get the same support. The support is not only for men. And the relationship with there is support between women and from men to women, and have the same time from us, from lecturers, when the faculty offer the same opportunities to men and to women, and when the campus is a safe environment for women, and also with the administrative, they have the same administrative support, when women get the same administrative support than men. Now, which activities can contribute to make that women stay in STEM. Career seminars, mentoring, social activities, in which could be social activities that mixed activities, linkage with other programs or interdisciplinary work, also tutoring, scholarship that are focused on women. We can also create physical spaces where women can meet and work with other, also with boys, and make more research or on the performance or the contribution of women to science, and check the curriculum. Maybe there is something missing in the curriculum that makes that girls are not interested that much in sciences. Like this Villalic model that developed a specific curriculum for each gender, and mentoring even after girls graduate. Now, it's necessary to integrate this, the academic, professional, and social sphere. So this list of action is something that I mentioned before. Come with mentors and tutors, someone senior who advise you, not only girls, also for men. It's important that in universities we have women in leadership position. There is no sense to say, yes, women, we can lead, and all the school boards are made of men. Also, in newsletters and in newsletters celebrate women. We can also invite speakers, female speakers, to lectures. We can also give opportunities to encourage mixed social activities, give women the opportunity to speak about their experience in the university, their learning experience, ensure respect regardless of gender, access to counseling. The life at the university and the life of work is not easy, so we always need some support. So encourage the creation of study groups, mixed team projects, generate activities like lunch group, coffee groups, support for working mothers. Sometimes we call mature students. Give them the opportunity to work or study only part-time, to offer a discount for nursery, and well, usually children should be in nursery, but sometimes we need to have it in the office to have some facilities for them. For instance, a bathroom with changing tables, and stop the academic clock for new parents. For some scholarships or fellowships like Marie Curie or the European Starting Grant, you can only apply before 10 years after you get your PhD. What happens, women, sometimes we have to stop 1 year for the maternity leave. So for women, we can, if we have children, we can still submit in year 11 or in year 12, according to the time that we have been out of the labor market because of maternity leave. And create parent support. You need the support of others, the advice of others. You can also share experience, provide support to others. And what happened with women working in STEM? Well, this is a program that developed by Enrolment University in the Netherlands. The Netherlands is another country, is the second country who champions in the number of women in STEM. They create this program, the Inequity Fellow, in which is an example of positive discrimination. It's a program created to attract advanced talent of women. Vacancies were open 6 months only for women, only for women. So even after the support for women in STEM doesn't end when they graduate, the support should continue when they are adult. I'm going to explain later. No, that's not. Can we go to
say, can I make a living with
The Curie Fellowship Program is a way to attract more female faculty at our university. This means that a vacancy was open for the first 6 months only for female. Moreover, females got €100,000 to set up their research after coming to work in our university. The program runs already 5 years and we plan to run it another 5 years.
Well, I'm Esther Ventura Medina. I am a professor of innovation in STEM education at the UE, and I am also an Ain Curie Fellow.
Okay, my name is Diletta Gentili. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering here at Eindhoven, and I am an Ain Curie Fellow.
This is really important for our university because bringing together people from different backgrounds, from different cultures, different educations, really strengthens a team. It provides more creativity, more resilience, more inspiration, and it's really an enforcement of everybody in the team.
Here we are in the light assembly room in the Matrix Building Innovation Space, where students working in challenge-based learning come to work together in here. One of the problems that we have sometimes is that we assume students know how to work in teams, but they not necessarily do. And my research focuses around how students learn in teams, and learning from that, how is it that we can design learning activities much better. Initially, I felt a bit conflicted about the idea of applying for the position because it didn't feel quite right, the fact that you get a special treatment for being a woman. But on the other hand, I also recognize the fact that the situation in academia with women in STEM is very difficult, and unless action is taken in the short term, nothing will change.
We have noticed that if we just let people select the best candidates for a position, they will select similar others. So if a university is full of male, they will find male as more appropriate for the positions.
So this is the multi-scale lab. This is the laboratory of our section in mechanical engineering, the mechanics of materials cluster. Here we do all sorts of analysis to look at our materials in the finest scales possible, with the current state of the art. You know, there are many women in this field. It's changing slowly but steadily. We're getting there. It depends a bit on the school, on the department, on the label of the department sometimes.
So we are not there yet. We don't have 30% in all faculties, but what we do see is that throughout these 5 years, the inflow of women and men is 50-50. So we are going in a good direction to reach our goals soon.
It's a process, I think, and I hope that us, slightly more senior people in the faculty body, are serving at least as role models for the new generations. I think that's one of the goals of the Ain Curie programs.
So for me, it has been really a big success. I arrived 2 years ago, and since I've met a number of people, I have been collaborating with others that really give me good connections, and I hope that I retire here and see much successes on this space. of the Irene Curie Fellowship. So I am an assistant professor now, and the typical path will be to grow as an associate professor and then a full professor here at TUI, combining all of the pillars that the job implies, which is research, education, impact, policy. I like the diversity of the faculty job, and I hope to keep doing it here at TUI.
Well, this program is it's 5 years. I don't know if they will open it again. I hope so. And I say our job as a lecturers don't end when the students graduate. Actually, well, in the third year in Cairo University, we help students, we train the students how to prepare a cover letter, how to prepare a resume. Practice interviews. No, this is something that we don't do, but it's something that we should do. Please pay attention. This is not only for girls, it's also for boys. And it's important that we make aware women about the challenge that they will find in the university and in industry. Many of those problems that you see about not enough credit, not being taken seriously, sometimes you still need to face that. And it's important that we introduce each other to students and junior workers to senior, to share experience, to get advice. And these are the main reference for this presentation. And now I'm going to ask it's supposed that this is a training, so it should be participatory. I'm going to ask you to please scan this code with your mobile phones. Could you go to this one? Present. No, that's not. No. No, it's should we? Can we do that? I don't need the presentation anymore. No. So I'm sure we can. Okay. It's not those people who couldn't scan the QR code. Don't worry. Go to Mentimeter, menti.com, and go to Menti and use this code. So for those who didn't manage to scan the code.
المشكلة اهو لا لا هو بس مش عارف اه يعني عايزة يعني عاوزة يبقى زي
Can we close this one too? This one?
ممكن نعمل دي
I don't need the presentation anymore. And then we can maybe
Everyone with the QR code? No. Okay.
Don't worry, if you have get the QR code, there is a number. Okay. Well, unfortunately, we can, since we cannot play the Mentimeter, those who have access, please feel free to answer. And I think Agnes said that we are going to make a break now.
Do break now? Okay.
Yes, so that was the last part was the Mentimeter. So thank you for your attention, and I hope that helped you to understand the role of women on STEM and the faces that we need to others.
Okay, thank you. Gracias. Inshallah, we will take just 10 minutes or 15 minutes for break. You can take coffee, take tea, or whatever you want. 1, 2, 3 times, no problem. After this break, I will give you my short presentation on